Hunger Unleashed. Chapter 4. What do you ask of me, my master? Nihilus said, with a bowed stance, in the Triss core. Finally a real task for you outside of this planet, Triya added. What task? Triya had a special plan with her apprentice, a trial to test his loyalty to the Sith Order, to see what he would do in certain given circumstances. She knew he was not forced to take major decisions in the name of the Sith. So far she has simply molded him into darkness, building a fragile dark cocoon over his soul and mind. But it was his decision if he'd have totally succumbed to the dark side or he would reject it. Training himself in the ways of the Sith and getting disposed of insignificant individuals had no relevance to the Order. Far from it. Triya knew about Nihilus' past, and she was eager to see if he would destroy a world for the sake of his bearer of suffering. Akindobes. Do you remember when you have told me about the bounty hunter Akindobes, the one who made you a slave? He remembered that Chiss face with enmity. What's with him? It would seem he has taken the crime lord Barks's position shortly after the Mandalorian Wars when the moon was discovered and arrested by the Jedi Order. Where is he? He added with tightened fingers. Once the moon was put under arrest, Bees moved the headquarters from malevolence to Shara. Shara? I am not surprised you have not heard about it. Shara is a bare Arctic planet located within the Hoth system, she added. A planet once populated by an enigmatic species which disappeared mysteriously. What remained after them are the large magnificent structures that now are being used by the Chiss crime lord. Fine, then, he stood up and left the Triss core whereas Sion was instructed to go and hunt down a Jedi Academy contained within a large artificial asteroid within the Coruscant solar system. Though they had different missions, there was only one means of transport, the Deceptor. The spaceship was enough big for all of Sion's assassins and Nihilus. Among them there was also a couple of dark Jedi who wished to go with the Marauder to prove their might in Triya's eye. Both of them sat in the back, Nihilus in the right, Sion in the left. So what do you have to do? Nihilus felt the ship turbulence shaking their bodies. There's a place filled with Jedi scum, as Master Triya said to me. She told me we must strike fear into their hearts, but if someone survives, we should let them to live. I don't understand her reason, but she might have a secret agenda. Spare them? I would kill them all. Here, I agree with you, Sion cracked his teeth looking through the window. After hours of space travel, the Deceptor finally made its way in the Hoth system approaching their destination, Shara. Most of the world was covered in snow, but it was light and almost dusty. Despite the lands were covered in snow, it was warm enough to maintain a good condition to harbor life, even when it came about plants and animals. The source of the warming conditions originated from a pack of colossal generators, located near the crime lord Akindobes' headquarters, which caught the sun rays and converted them to power and warm. Shara had two cold suns, Leos and Zilla, and a single jungle moon called Shikax. The few cartographers that had studied this world with its suns and its moon, came to the single conclusion that the mysterious species found a way to harness the cold energy of the two stars. The Shara species had constructed a massive generator out of the orbit, large as a warship, cubic and had mounted shielding devices to protect the planet from celestial bodies. The cartographers had come to the belief that the enigmatic species colonized the world, not the other way around. Evidence lay in the extraterrestrial massive generator and those on the planet. Even if it had one jungle moon, the planet was stuck between the two suns, and there was no night. Day was the only constant here. The landscape was covered in numerous green trees, huge mountains, some snowless lands, though the soil color was brown and fertile. The cloaked Deceptor flew over the Sha'arian lands undetected by Akindobes' radars. Nihilus and Sion saw the tough ice collapsing in the water, the lakes, the trees full of life, the animals that ran and roared, the lands blown by the calm breeze. The feeling of life was plainly overwhelming. As they gazed at the teeming with life scenery, the pilot landed somewhere, far away from the crime lord's headquarters, in a valley hidden by the mountains in northern part of the crime lord's base. The ship's engines vibrated and the back trapdoor opened in the air. They could not land due to the fact that the Chiss had installed secret remote detection devices for spaceships. As Nihilus placed his hands on the trapdoor's edges, Sion spoke. This is the place, the Ice Mountains. You'll be on your own. Lord Triya believes you are going to succeed in completing this task, Sion said. And if I won't succeed? Nihilus asked and Sion replied immediately. Replaced with no second thought, He cracked his teeth. He was at peace with it. This was one of the risks Tri had told him many years ago when she initiated him in the ways of the Sith. Nihilus knew he will succeed. He must. Nihilus took his hands off the edges. He inhaled and exhaled for 3 seconds, then lunged from 10 meters high, decreasing the impact with the ground by creating a force pillow. He reached down as his feet threw snow in the air, leaving a large rounded hole in snow. He looked at the Deceptor once more before it left this wondrous world bathed in light. Nihilus was walking the dusty snow and peeves. He could hear the birds that flying over the colossal ice mountains singing in harmony. He heard their echoes spreading across the mountains. For a moment, he was tempted to abandon the darkness and rethink his life, but he remembered. The light is beauty, but it's weak. It chains one's potential and brings only stagnation. This is just an illusion. A perversion. He resumed his walk. Nihilus climbed up the northern valley of the ice mountains, laying his hands on trees not to slide down accidentally. His black gloves were covered with snow, his black boots with mud. But in the trees, a danger was lurking. Insatiable purple eyes were watching him, a mouth muttered silently, sharp teeth cracked, big nose puffed, claws sunk into the tree's branches, tongue oozed with acid. As he climbed up, a ferocious wild four-legged beast barked at him and jumped on his chest, both rolling down with speed. As they went down, Nihilus held the creature's hairless blue arms, with both hands, to not get scratched by its sharp claws. He and the creature hit a massive piece of ice, and the impact hurled both in different sides, the beast in the left, Nihilus in the right. Enough of this. Nihilus took his lightsaber from the belt and a straight red beam flashed to life. The ice mountain beast raged a powerful scream force wave, pushing the Sith Lord a few meters away, slamming his body by an ice rock. He resumed his fighting stance and threw his blade to slice the beast's head, though it repelled his lightsaber using another powerful scream. The beast jumped in the air with its arms wide open, ready to slash the Sith Lord's arms with a vertical cut. Bathed in the Force, the Sith apprentice created a telekinetic shield. The wild creature struck at the shield, lessening its power. As the creature weakened his Force shield, it tried to consume his life force. When its orange drain rays touched the man, the creature felt nothing. It felt a wound, an empty place that drew energy into itself. "You wanted to drain me, beast? Let me pay it back to you." Nihilus directed his hands at the beast and the process began. The beast didn't register any power at stake, but it felt the sudden chill of death. And with it, the beast was gone, its essence and energy embedded into the Sith Lord. After the match with that animal, he climbed up the mountain again. At the mountain's top, he stood still, taking a deep breath, feeling the refreshing cold breeze, the airwaves touching his own lips. He saw the rays of the two suns, one in his left, one in his right. After he relaxed his muscles from the fighting stress and cleared his mind of insignificant things, Nihilus climbed down the mountain on the other side, crushing the solid snow under his foot, leaving footsteps behind. As he walked by foot the great distance between the ice mountains and Lord B's headquarters, Nihilus used a Force technique learned from Tri to keep his body unaffected by exhaustion. Fortunately for him, the large woods provided him with good cover. Meanwhile, in the Chiss private office, one of the alien's men rushed inside. "Lord B's," the man looked at the collection of weapons in the alien's right side. "Akinto, call me Akinto. I hate when someone calls me on my last name. It's the finest form of flattery. I hate flattery. Only the stupid flatter." "Lord Akinto?" "Yes, what is it?" The alien was sitting in his chair. The Sith, my lord," the man gasped. "What about the Sith?" Akinto clasped his own hands on the desk. "They have returned, my lord. They just assaulted the asteroid Jedi Academy in the Coruscant system. It was completely flattened down." The Chiss raised his palm and punched the metal table with tightened fist. "Damn it. These Sith are more annoying than the Jedi, and they can be barely fooled. Sir, you could negotiate with them." Akinto frowned. "Negotiate? These Sith can't be trusted at all. They'd use me and get rid of me with no second thought. Sir? When a Sith asks of you to be their friend, be ready to be backstabbed and cast aside when you're no longer useful," he sighed with clasped hands. "Who knows if they have something in their twisted mind to pay us a little visit. For the highest protection, activate the defense weaponry system in the perimeter and mount some turrets outside of it just to be sure enough no one will going to run my business under." "Yes, my lord," the man bowed and left the office. The Chiss remained with hands clasped in his dark room, half closing his red icy eyes. And if that fails, I have a colossal ace hidden in my very pockets, the Chiss grinned concealed by shadows. As Nihilus made his way through the vast forest, he got over a pack of large silver turrets, each equipped with 4 laser cannons that constantly rotated from left to right, beeping and monitoring the area. Nihilus tapped into the dark side, concentrating on the targets he wanted to annihilate. He brought his mind out of the body, picturing the turrets' positions. Nihilus gripped the turrets with the force. The massive pressure of his telekinesis power bent the turrets and made them to implode. 1 second next and they were turned into deformed metal ball objects. The pressure was so intense that the turrets exploded and fire sparks shone in his eyes from the explosion spread in the air. Nihilus showed himself when the turrets were destroyed and advanced forth in completing his mission. Inside the Chiss headquarters, the same man that entered the alien's office saw the outside perimeter turrets being mysteriously destroyed with the help of the cameras secretly installed in trees. Sir, the man shouted, frightened. What is it now? Kama Akinto shouted too. The outside perimeter turrets are destroyed. Someone powerful in the force is here, he gasped. What are you waiting then for, fool? Alert my troops. The crime lord suddenly stood up and left his room. The man sounded the general alarm. All staff, alert. This is not a drill. Hostile forces detected. The crime lord's troopers got up, with their laser blasters prepared, their masks peeled and ran towards the large outside door. Move, maggots, the troopers stormed as the general alarm sounded out loud, echoing throughout all the room compartments, from the smallest to largest. Nihilus' force amplified his senses, listening to footsteps, loud voices, men breathing at unison. The Sith Lord used another force power, extending his sight to Akinto's headquarters. He saw soldiers carrying heavy blaster rifles dressed in brown armors and black helmets marked with a blue reptile drawing. Nihilus was ready. He powered up his lightsaber, assuming an offense stance with the crimson blade in vertical position, tightening the hilt with his fingers. As the troopers advanced, they blew apart the trees, with their super-floating tanks, creating a straight path. While the crime lord's troops were violently forging their path, Nihilus spotted a Republic ship in the sky. Its nozzles vibrated with high-pitched sounds. The ship immediately blasted the troopers and their menacing combat machines heading at the crime lord's headquarters. Nihilus felt their light-side presence, the Jedi. When he thought things won't get more interesting, they just did. Nihilus resumed his walk, making his own path at the criminal base. As he approached the tanks blasted in horizontal line, Nihilus scattered them with a force wave, blasting them forward in the air along with the corpses of the fallen troopers. The headquarters was now visible, its spiral towers releasing perpetual lightnings, the sun rays reflecting in its peak. When he made it near the base, he spotted, from 100 meters distance away, the Chiss crime lord, accompanied by 4 men, 3 Bothans and 1 human. His lust for vengeance gave way to hate and rage. And with it, true Sith power. Nihilus powered up his lightsaber, and burst like a supernova, trying to catch him. The man in the right side of the Chiss saw sideways a running figure with black robe and a shiny red blade. Sir, a Sith, right behind you, the man observed with shock. The Chiss turned his head and saw the Sith Lord. Hating to express his emotions in public, Beast kept his cool. To the Perkin, Baiju. You 3, stay here. Akinto ran to his personal hangar, built by his men, near his headquarters, crunching the snow with his booth. They entered in hangar and his Neomodian man, Baiju, activated the ship's engines and nozzles, preparing it for departure. The hangar doors opened and the 30-meter ship was ready to take it to the stars. Nihilus' force gripped the Perkin, quickly pulling it down, but not destroying it. He desired to kill the bastard Chiss with his own hands. Akinto and Baiju came out of his ship through the trapdoor, both quite unaffected at first look. The Neomodian was frightened, changing his eye look. Lord Akinto, what now? The blue alien was speechless and his cool, gone. I think we should. Akinto heard Baiju groaning and holding his own neck as he was raised in the air. His neck twisted, his body slammed by a wall of the Chiss base. The Chiss blinked twice before he was suspended in the air by the mysterious Sith. Nihilus' force pulled the Chiss backwards to him, ready to apply the last blow. Please, stop, the cold alien sensed fear and despair now. Just wait a moment. I can give you anything you want. Money, an army, power, friends, just tell me and I'll do your bidding, my Dark Lord of the Sith. Master of all that is mighty, Supreme Lord of all that lives and dies. Can you give me back my parents? His black hood slightly moved with the face bent down at the alien. Parents, what parents? The alien replied. The Sith Lord took off his dark hood. At first Akindo couldn't recognize his facial features, but at a closer inspection, he remembered. Flashbacks struck his mind of how he brought Voden to the orphanage and how badly he was treated. You. It can't be. The Chiss slowly crawled back, seeing a familiar face of the past, but he thought it holds no longer any significance. I'll give you anything your eyes lust, but spare me. The Chiss bent forward on his palms, adopting a humble position. I'm so sorry for your parents' loss. But you would not understand. Please spare me, Voden. That's your name, right? The blue alien started bursting in tears before him. Give me a second chance and I swear on my species that I'll change my ways in the honor of your mother and father. I am gonna become a better person, the Chiss begged for clemency with a child's look. He hooded his face and raised his blade in the air above the Chiss head. Voden Teneb died on Malachor that day. I am Darth Nihilus, Lord of Hunger. I am the abyss in which all that lives dies. As the blade was ready to strike him down, a Jedi launched from behind. Leave him alone, Sith. Nihilus sensed the Jedi's presence and quickly turned back, crossing their blades. Both were hooded and neither saw the other's face. The Sith Lord force amped his physical strength, trying to break the Jedi's defense. Though, the Jedi maintained his own position until the Sith force pushed him a few meters away. He force-gripped the Jedi with his left hand and suspended him into a whirlwind with the other hand while he was carrying the lightsaber. Did you forget to make the difference between criminals and innocents, Jedi? Nihilus spun the Jedi's body as if he were a puppet. Why do you protect him? A crime lord? He looked at the collapsed Chiss sideways. It is the duty of a Jedi to defend those who are weak and cannot defend themselves, no matter their acts. All deserve a chance to salvation. And if he truly wants to right his wrongs, he should have the privilege to do so. The Jedi stalled, charging a telekinetic blast. Then defend a criminal and have his blood on your own hands, fool. Fall, Sith. The Jedi blasted the Sith Lord a few meters distance by the Chiss broken ship, interrupting the 13 meters high whirlwind's rotation. With the whirlwind gone, the Jedi fell down, hitting the ground with his own back. Both had their hoods taken off by the impact that crossed through their bodies. Nihilus stood still, barely regaining his consciousness while the Jedi was healing his own back. They both saw each other's faces as they approached one by another. One was human, the other was Elamine. The Elamine recognized the human's face first. Voden Teneb? Voden, is that you? The alien added with a shocking face expression. Jais, you are a Jedi now? He was surprised to see the Elamine clad in a Jedi armor concealed by brown robes. How ironic. By the Force, what have the Sith done to you, my friend? Jais felt the human's pain, and now he shall always blame himself for what happened. They gave me what I needed. But it looks like you denying my freedom was not enough. Now you will deny me vengeance too, friend? I did many things I am not proud of to survive, but I tried to change myself. Nihilus and Jais started walking in a closed circle while they were speaking. What about me? Do you have any remorse? Nihilus frowned his eyebrows. He had the face expression of a predator. He couldn't wait to strike the Jedi down. There's no single day that I do not regret what I have done to you. Jais looked up at the sky, hiding his mourning. And those memories shall haunt me for the rest of my life. I understand you, Voden. I really do. Just give me your hand, let me help you. Everyone can be saved, no one is beyond redemption. This is not some Jedi creed, I've learned this on my own skin. He gave his hand with honesty. But the hunger made back its way to surface, tormenting him, as if his stomach was full of acid burning him inside. Perhaps some might be beyond redemption, Jais. Nihilus remembered that the Elamine was the one who stopped the bullies at the orphanage to make fun of him. And he spared him. Nihilus straightened his right hand behind, and his inner abyss was unleashed. The Jedi Knights that were fighting the Chiss's troopers were all consumed to the bones. Jais could sense the life force and the force energy of those troopers and of his Jedi comrades depleting, all facing a terrible death. The hunger was subdued and it returned to the darkest depths of his being. The alien knight knelt, crying. Gone. They're all gone. How could you? You made me what I am today. Because of you I remained on Malachor 5, he pointed at him. Chiss activated his red lightsaber and realized he must face the mistakes of his past embodied into one single being. Even if it is against the Jedi Creed, some mistakes can be fixed only by the act of sword. And I'll try to offer you a swift painless death as possible, my friend. Both jumped forward, clashing their red blades, constantly performing an amount of strikes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then leaping backwards. Gone. They're all gone. How could you? You made me what I am today. Because of you I remained on Malachor 5, he pointed at him. Chiss activated his red lightsaber and realized he must face the mistakes of his past embodied into one single being. Even if it is against the Jedi Creed, some mistakes can be fixed only by the act of sword. And I'll try to offer you as swift painless death as possible, my friend. Both jumped forward, clashing their red blades, constantly performing an amount of strikes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then leaping backwards. Chiss telekinetically lifted up the broken ship, hurling it in the Sith Lord. Nihilus used the Force countering, breaking the Jedi's telekinesis grip. The Elamine leapt over the Chiss ship, hurled by the Sith Lord, as it came quickly toward him. Chiss aimed at the Lord's neck as he jumped, charging the lightsaber's deadly blow. Nihilus caught the Knight's raw laser with his own bare hands, blasting him with another telekinetic wave. As the two fought without stopping, the Elamine swayed slightly to the dark side, fond of power, using the Jumso combat style. Nihilus was trained in the art of swift deadly strikes by trial, employing the Makashi form in battles. Chiss temporarily surrendered to the darkness, executing brutal powerful attacks with his own natural red blade. Nihilus stood focused, making use of light deadly strikes as the Jedi kept to avoid his attacks. As their duel intensified, the Chiss Akinto bees slowly took it off from their sight, heading to another space shuttle kept in the hangar. Akinto opened the ship's trapdoor, quickly entering inside, setting it to autopilot mode. As the ship started lifting up in the air, the Chiss smiled inside the ship, taking out a hidden remote control from his own pockets. Perhaps you've ruined my business, but I'll ruin your lives. The ship left the hangar, reaching out of Shira's atmosphere. Their fight was so intense that Nihilus didn't even see his parents' murder getting away as he held his own lightsaber in defense stance. I have to say it. You are a Jedi and yet you carry a red lightsaber with you. Naturally, only a Sith would carry it. Nihilus half closed his eyes. You are right. But I chose this color to remind me of my inner darkness. To know that I am not without demons. Time to end this. Nihilus force gripped the Elamine. Chiss did not see it, apparently. What? How did you? You are so naive. I could have atomized your body from the very beginning. But I didn't want to do it because I wanted to give you a fair fight. And of course to test my lightsaber skills. But it ends here. Time to claim your higher plane, Jedi. As Nihilus was ready to pierce the Jedi's defenses and disintegrate him, the Chiss headquarters was shaken at its foundations. Both stopped. Chiss felt the overwhelming earthly vibrations. Nihilus felt and saw a presence, through the eye of force, beneath the ancient construction, a large massive form of life emanating concentrated waves of internal heat. A scream rage blew apart the base, and a colossal beast made its way up from a hole, free of its restraints. By the Great Holocron, the Jedi watched the beast with awe as his heart beat faster and blood pumped quicker. The Ilgner in flesh and blood, the Elamine remained silent. The Ilgner was a 1,000 meters tall monster, black eyes, bulky body, brown skin, sharp claws and sharp fangs. No one knew the truth behind the beast's existence, but its purpose was to guard the yard power generators near the ancient structure. The giant creature raised its arm in the air, ready to stomp the ground. Both warriors leapt in the air away from the beast's range. The wild creature's yellow spit dripped down its fangs. The Elamine Jedi was overwhelmed by fear of death. Chiss half surrendered to his inner darkness, channeling the dark side energies that resided within him. The Elamine burst with rage, unleashing from his fingertips destructive blue lightning bolts. The lightning bolts hit the Ilgner, but its solid shell repelled them down, burning the snowy soil, its rare plants and almost everything near vicinity. Nihilus caught the bolts with bare hands, reflecting them back, dissipating them. Chiss surrounded himself with an electric force shield, countering the power of his own lightning bolts. My most powerful attack, and the Ilgner still stands on its feet. Chiss looked at the beast through his own force shield and jumped backwards. Chiss had one last chance. He tapped into the light side nexus of the planet and assaulted the beast with a telekinetic blast. It remained unfazed. The beast roared out loud, straightening its left hand at the Jedi, catching the alien with its claw. Voden, do something. Help me. Nihilus' words could not reach his ears, but he spoke to himself. I do. I am letting you have a swift die. Now meet your ancestor, Chiss. Goodbye. He looked elsewhere. Chiss screamed in pain. The Ilgner opened his stench mouth and swallowed in one bit the brave knight, crushing his body with its teeth. Facing death, an image with Triumph from the past appeared into his mind. There are terrifying dark side powers Force, such one would be Force lightning. To unleash such destructive energies in the external reality, one must let their flesh engulfed by those energies. And emotions such as anger, rage, and hatred will help you. Let these energies devour your body inside, and when the opportunity appears, unleash them. This is one of the reasons why the Jedi are forbidden to use this ability. They are the pure expression of the dark side. Force lightning, as Tri explained to him during his training, is one of the greatest powers of the Sith, capable of twisting worlds and unleash terrible calamities. Nihilus succumbed, his body invaded by dark side energies, penetrating his body with Sith power. A dark aura enveloped his body completely. Potent dark lightning bolts appeared out of his fingertips. Those gigantic lightning bolts hit the Ilgner's shelled skin, breaking through its body. Nihilus' lightning bolts damaged the beast's organs, burning the wild creature. Its body turned to ash, scattering in the air. Total consumption. The mission was a half success, but hunger called again. It was more severe than the last, and he made total submission to it. Transparent tendrils stemmed from his body. His tendrils touched every living thing around him, but not enough this time. Nihilus gripped all the planet under his greedy grasp, devouring it, stealing its life force and its force energy. All the life forms disappeared and its light side energy was gone too. In a few moments, Shara was turned into a world sucked dry, leached by colors. A void in the force. Nihilus' eye color turned black, his face became pale, his muscles atrophied. He howled in pain. The waves of his scream reached throughout the galaxy. Echoes of extreme agony spread all over Malachor 5. Even the Jedi Order sensed it, but they could not trace its origins. Nihilus took his portable comlink and contacted Triya. Triya's red tridimensional hologram beeped. The Crime Lord escaped, but the planet is destroyed, stripped off from Force. You have fulfilled your task, then. Resist. Sign shall appear any time starting from now. Just as the Dark Woman promised, Sion arrived on Shara with extra forces of Sith, with many spaceships after the attack on the asteroid Jedi Academy. As they penetrated the world's atmosphere, Sion saw the desert landscape, sensing nothingness. There was no light and no darkness. He felt a black hole in the Force, complete annihilation. Sion and his men landed next to Nihilus. The trapdoor opened and the Marauder came out with a couple of his assassins. Speechless to the great power of man, Sion remained. Get inside, we're leaving. The walking corpse cracked his teeth. After 2 hours of travel, spaceships penetrated Malachor's vapid atmosphere. Nihilus and Sion came out of their ship and headed to the Triskor. All in the academy saw the physical deformed body of Triya's first apprentice. The old blind woman predicted this would happen when the apprentice shall pledge his will entirely to the dark side and his hunger. Though he had the salvation of his soul by dying back then on Malachor V, his master offered him the answer to eternal life. There is an ancient technique that will help you in transferring your essence into a vessel. What technique? His body began to crumble. An ancient technique that the late Darth Nihilus discovered. A very knowledgeable Sith in the ways of the dark side. Teach me, he added as Triya hesitated for a moment. Unfortunately, such technique is not known to me. Her words made him angry, but an answer came. Fortunately, the Dark Lord stored his own spirit into a holocron. Where is this holocron? His holocron resides on Praxth, the world where he had set himself as the immortal God King of Praxth. However, with her apprentice's sudden illness, she spent no more talking and quickly thought to a solution to keep her own student's disease under control, at least temporarily. But first, we must keep your body to functional parameters. Abruptly her apprentice collapsed on the floor, his eyes slowly closed. Take him to the medical center. There is no time to waste.